and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
NERevs UK, all things revolution from a UK perspective.
Hello everybody, my name is Mike and welcome back to the NERevs UK show, all things revolution from a UK perspective. We've got a fair bit to run through today. We're obviously going to be looking back at my notes on the game as the New England Revolution took on Atlanta United at Gillette Stadium. We're also going to be running the in-depth analysis on the game as well of the key plays from Gillette Stadium. We're then going to be heading over to the questions from you, the listeners, as well as who is that Revimon, and we're going to end the episode with my predictions. So let's get into it, shall we? So 2-1 to the Revolution, 3 points on the board, and yeah, I mean it was a decent performance. Obviously, it's always nice to come away with 3 points, isn't it? No matter how the performance, obviously, we can all say that it was a much improved performance on the last time we got round to when we played DC, and you know, wasn't the best game, but still managed to get 3 points from that one. This one, a better performance in terms of obviously the soccer that was played on the pitch, but there were still opportunities to make the most of the game, and I think we probably could have gone on to win more. I think the second half was a key pivotal point for us, maybe not showcasing what we could do, but obviously, you know, really delighted to come away from Gillette Stadium with 3 points against Atlanta United as well. You know, they're not a team to be taken too lightly this season. So just going to run through the lineup. Obviously, Bruce went out for. Obviously, I was on a social media boycott between obviously Friday and Monday, just trying to support, you know, and make the right people heard at the right time. So I obviously didn't post anything between those times from 3 p.m. on the Friday all the way through till midnight on the Monday. So just as I say, trying to highlight the injustices going on in online football trolls at the moment, and obviously the disgusting things that people get sent online, and they just think it's fine. But going back to the New England Revolution, I nearly called the lineup, and I kind of I sent it to Chris over, obviously, who has he's part of the Revolution recap team and has his own Revolution Revolt as well. I actually sent my predicted lineup to Chris prior. And I wasn't too far off, to be fair. So the only things I didn't guess was I still had Mafla and Captoum in the squad. So I had Mafla at left back and Captoum in for Martial. But other than that, I mean, pretty much spot on. He went with Matt Turner, Brandon Bye, Andrew Farrell, Henry Kessler, Dewan Jones, Martial, Polster, Buchanan, Heel, Tristanson, and Adam Bootska as well. So, and I know there's been a lot of talk about me mispronouncing players' names as of recently, but I mean, I've never mispronounced a player's name in my life. Lineup for today's game as Shuttleworth in goal. We've got Farrell playing right back, Tierney playing left back. We've got Gonzalez playing alongside Sambinia in the central defensive partnership. Got Kofi and Caldwell playing as a defensive pairing. We've got Gonzalez, I'm not being racist, I'm pretty sure that's his first name, out on the left, and we've got Nguyen on the right. I don't fucking know. Up top we've got Bunbury, I know that one, that's a nice easy one. And then there's a guy next to him, I don't really know, number 10. Right, back to the game. So yeah, as I said, you know, it wasn't the best performance I've probably ever seen from the Revolution team, but there was parts of the game which I was really impressed with. But obviously, as I said, we'll kind of just talk about that in the in-depth analysis. I'm trying to just give a general overview of the game and kind of how I thought it went. The fact that we kind of got, 6 shots on target was a little bit pleasing. Second half performance wasn't as solid as the first half performance, in my opinion. I just think we were a little bit wasteful, if I'm being perfectly honest. There was opportunities where we could have definitely done more to kind of see the game out and put us in a bit more of a dominant position, really, and a bit more of a comfortable position. Because obviously, when you're when you're 2-1 up, that's never really a massive massively comfortable place to be. Obviously, 19 minutes on the clock when Brandon Bye put us on the board. A really, really great ball out from Andrew Farrell. Spots Carlos pulled out wide to the left-hand side this time. Obviously, it's great to see Carlos in that kind of free role and a little bit more freedom with the fact that he's not got a kind of wing to almost worry about as such. He was kind of started centrally. And he definitely seemed to be utilising that for the fact he was just literally popping up where he saw space, which is exactly what you want a player of Carlos's calibre to be doing. But great ball, great vision from Andrew Farrell as well, seeing Carlos out on that left-hand side, and then a delicious ball from Carlos in, and really, really well-timed run as well from Banda. When you watch it back, obviously, which we'll see in the analysis, that it was just a really, really well-timed run. Gambled as well, but kind of knows that Carlos has got that talent and ability to get the ball exactly where he wants it. Carlos has obviously spotted the run from Brandon, and just a really, really good all-round goal from the Revolution, and really, really pleasing to see. Obviously, talking about their penalty, I think both penalties, to be fair, are lucky ones. If I'm being brutally honest, obviously there's a lot of delay on the Revolution one. To see if it was outside or inside the box. I mean, yeah, probably when you slow it down, by a millimetre, it probably was a penalty, but. I mean, at the end of the day, if that was an Atlanta United call, you'd be screaming the opposite direction. So, and I think theirs again. I also thought theirs was a bit soft. I wouldn't say both of them are wrong calls. I just think, I don't know. It was just a little bit of an annoyance that was kind of almost the decider for the game as well. But saying that though, they got one given that possibly could have been argued either way. We got one, so it kind of evened each other out. I think I did make a note that it was quite good to see that obviously Carlos getting fouled a lot again, but this time, the referee, actually did a really good job of trying to keep that under control and was carding players as well, and multiple fouls on Carlos. So I think the referee, as I say, did a decent job in that one. But overall, I'd say I was fairly happy with the performance. I think Martial for me stood out really, really. To be fair, actually, Martial and Matt Polster, just great, really, really good partnership. And I do think, as painful as this is going to say, I do think it's going to be quite hard for captain to actually get into the squad. If they now can just build on this and keep going in the right direction. I mean, saying that, it's really, really good that we've got that competition that they now know. Any one time that one of them kind of has a bad game, we've got a person literally chomping at the bit behind them. So that's going to keep the midfield pairing on their toes. But I think it was a massively solid performance from both of them. I think Matt Polster was, as I keep calling him, Matt the Rock Polster. No one else seems to be calling him it, and I don't know why. I mean, it's literally his name. I told you weeks ago. Just solid partnership, really, really well. I think they complement each other as well. Great range of passing from Martial. Just kept things ticking over. And it kind of, and this is going to sound really weird, and even as I'm thinking it now, and when I wrote it down at the time, it was, I know it's weird, but let me finish my explanation before you start jumping in the comment section or hounding me over on Twitter. That Martial really actually does remind me of Scott Calderwell, in the fact that he's very kind of efficient on the ball. Now, I do think that Martial's got that kind of little extra step further than possibly what Scotty hasn't really showcased in the past few seasons. Obviously not really getting much of an opportunity and hasn't even featured for the Revolution as of yet. But, it was a really solid performance from him. And I think his range of passing and his vision is really, really good. And I think you can already tell, even though he's at a young age, that he's got a really kind of good footballing head on him. And you can kind of, kind of see stuff out. I mean, he's only 21 years of age, and it already seems like he's been playing for quite some time, and he's just strolled into this New England Revolution team, which, at the moment is probably one of the strongest we've had in some time. That's the strongest roster we've had in some time. But he's demanding that choice now to have, be that number one partner alongside Matt Polster. So it's really, really pleasing to see. I think Tyjone or Buchanan on the right looked really, really solid. A little bit, again, for me, I think Tristanson, if that's definitely how you pronounce it, 100%. I think he looks, I don't know. I think he's still got to get up to speed for me, and I don't think we're seeing obviously the best of him. There's little sparks in his game that we can kind of see what he can showcase, but for me, just a little bit of a lacklustre performance, if I'm being honest. Wasn't the best really from him, but to be fair, we obviously had the double substitution in McNamara and Bunbury coming on for Buchanan and RS Dick winger, and I don't really think either of them offered much more either. So could be a little sticky point. Obviously, we've still got Boateng as well that we can try out there as well. But for me, I think it's worth keeping with him because I do. You can see he's a really good level of soccer player, and I think he definitely can do something for us. I think he's got to find his feet a little bit. Obviously, he's joined really late into the pre-season. Well, not even really in the pre-season, did it? Almost. So, yeah, I think you've got to give him time to bed in, get himself integrated into the squad and really understand what the Revolution's about. And hopefully in a few games more time, we should see him. I mean, there's maybe an argument there that we maybe don't start with him. But I think the more and more time he gets on the pitch, the better he can kind of climatise to it all, and I think it just benefits everyone all round. So a slow start from him, but a really good start from the Revolution, and say very, very pleasing performance. Brandon Bye just seems to just be getting better and better week in, week out, which is really pleasing to see. We've been on about his raw potential for weeks now, seasons now, and it's kind of slowly just getting there. Dwan Jones had a really strong game as well. To fair, the whole back line, the back five in fair had a really good game. Matt Turner, very unfortunate not to get to the Atlanta United penalty. He went the right direction, but just didn't go with enough conviction, in my opinion. It was almost like he was almost second-guessing himself that he wasn't going to get it right, because I think if he went full-hearted that way, I think he'd get that. But for some reason, Matt Turner just second-guessing himself, it seemed, on that one, and didn't maybe go with as fully convicted as he could do. But I think the 11 played really, really well on the day. I think Adam is just lacking something at the moment for me. As I said, I've been singing his praises as of recently, and I think he still gave a really solid all-round performance. I think that his finishing was off on that day, but I do think we're definitely starting to utilise him in the right way now, and I think only time will tell on this one. But I think it's not going to take too much longer, and I think we'll see Adam starting firing on all cylinders. Obviously, Gustavo Bo in the team. Obviously picked up an injury. Wasn't even in the 18, so not too sure what happened there. But I think the team performed really, really well without him, if I'm being honest. And we'll kind of touch on that in a little bit more depth later on in the episode. But we're going to head over now and go into my in-depth. Well, some might call it in-depth. Some just might say it's just some English bloke talking about a soccer game. But we're going to analyse the game as the New Revolution took on Atlanta United. Okay, so sorry everyone, I've obviously just come back to editing this, and I've realised that the audio for some reason wasn't picked up when I did the analysis. So I'm just going to kind of try and voice over the top of this and see if I can kind of get it to sound half decent. Sorry. Right, okay, here we go then. Second time lucky. Apologies for any background noises. It's not my ideal setup, but let's see if I can kind of remember what I kind of said as we get into the game against Revolution versus Atlanta United. First of all, corner here, zonal marking. Not a big fan of this at all. Gives the kind of precedent to the attacking team. Obviously, they get the jump on us, and they've got the momentum from the running forward. We've got a good number of defenders back here, though. It's just not the fact that, but it's if you look, here we go. So good number of defenders, but not really picking anyone up. So you've got the runners that are coming onto them. Obviously, as I said, bringing their forward momentum onto the players to potentially obviously leap higher than our defenders. So I've never really been a massive fan of the actual thing. It does come short though. So if we kind of I think I've run this back a little bit here. Yeah. So if you just pick it up here, that because being zonal marking, we are kind of obviously hoping that they're going to pile into the box, but they don't. And it kind of leaves, if you look on the edge of the area here, I mean, they've got 3 players here and another one there, so 4 players, and I believe that's Carlos Heel there, not the most aerial threat from Carlos. Obviously, he doesn't, he's not a dominant force in the area, is he? But ball comes in there, and Carlos, luckily the player kind of scuffs it and it's kind of gone wide, but could have been things where we, Atlanta could look at that. Other teams could look at that, obviously, in their scouting report and see that as a massive weakness for us, because I'm just not massive fan of zonal marking. And I say other teams will definitely look to exploit that in the future. But here we are, 17 minutes on the clock now. I seem to have paused it. I'm not too sure what I'm doing here. Probably just talking a load of rubbish. But Carlos Heel, obviously, 6 chances created from set pieces. First in MLS stats, and obviously rightfully so. But here we go, playing it forward now. So stop the ball here. Ball comes in, great leap there by Henry Kessler, really, really good leap, really good ball in from Carlos, really, obviously all Henry had to do is kind of follow momentum. Adam here does really, really well as well to go and get a shot away. Obviously goalkeeper kind of a little bit blindsided there, but really good run from Henry Kessler, just great ball in from Carlos. But Henry just getting in between the two defenders. The one just doesn't really know where he is. The other one kind of reacts late. Henry, great leap from him and just guides the ball, but unfortunately hits the post. And as I said, Adam does a really good job to kind of get a shot off here. And on another day where the goalkeeper's kind of, at sea, could have been a different outcome here. Now, this is the goal here, just for the 18-minute mark. We've got the ball coming out to Andrew Farrell now. Now, just watch this from Andrew Farrell. Just watch this. He's got options. He's got other options here. He's got a really easy out. He's got Martial, I believe, just here. I'm probably pronouncing his name wrong, but who knows? I've got another player over here as well. So he's got two easy options, but no, that's not what Andrew Farrell does. He sees El Capitano out on that left-hand side and just pings an absolute delicious ball to him. Weight and speed of ball, just great. I mean, Carlos doesn't really have to do much at all. Just basically pluck it out of the sky, which is bread and butter for Carlos. But really, really good ball out to the left-hand side. Just look at that. Just look at the weight distribution on that ball there. Carlos literally just into his path perfectly. Carlos nicely cuts back inside, leaves the defender for dead there. Poor defending from him. Opens up some space, just dinks a lovely ball in. And we are going to run this back because we're going to watch the Brandon Bye run here. Just watch Brandon Bye here. So Carlos just about to dink the ball in, and we've got the defender here in a decent position, but just that little jink there from just dukes him to the last moment, and Brandon just really, really good from him. And again, the momentum and speed and everything already perfectly weighted on the ball, so all that Brandon really has to do on this one is just guide the ball in. But just watch this here, just yoink, just a little change of direction there from him, and away he goes. Look at that space he's got between him and the goalkeeper, him and the defender, and just a nice easy one. Just kind of, wrong foot in the goalkeeper as well. I think the goalkeeper thought he'd kind of carry on this trajectory of heading it forward. Wasn't meant to be. Brad Guzan getting angry with his defence, rightfully so, because that was a poor bit of defending there. Just a nice little easy juke and away from the ball. But look at them Revolution fans. I absolutely love each and every one of you. I want to see it from another angle here. Great ball, just lovely. Takes the defender out of it, creates some space. Great time run, and just guides it. No need to really do much on that at all. Lovely, absolutely well worked Revolution goal, and much more from I want to see much more of that throughout the season, because that was sublime football from the Revolution, and obviously great for the Gillette faithful to see that in front of them as well. Look at that. I mean, Brad Guzan didn't stand a chance. Poor defending. Carlos again with a free kick. 33 minutes on the clock here. Well lined up. The defence is pretty well lined up as well, picking up every man they kind of can do. And again, really good ball in here from Carlos, just into that danger zone, and I think that's an amazing. I can't remember correctly, but I believe that was a great save there from Brad. But just Carlos doing what he literally just needs to do, just putting it into that corridor of uncertainty here. The goalkeeper unsure, thinking no, he's already made his decision, he's not going to come. Probably could have done there, but just 3 or 4 Revolution players just throwing their body on it. I believe it was Adam in the end who got his toe to the ball, but I can't quite still make out that due to unfortunately the low quality, but I believe it was a really good save from Brad. Now here's the goal for Atlanta. Now, I've touched on this. I think both of them are soft decisions. I don't know. I mean, yes, there's contact is made, so I do get it. I do get the reason for the call, but it is a soft one. Both of them soft penalties. I believe ours was probably more softer than theirs in terms of, like, no matter if you microscope, if you kind of put everything underneath a microscope and play it at a certain speed, you're eventually going to see something wrong with it. I mean, this one here, slowed it down slightly. Yes, arm there, clips the heels. I mean, yeah, he's got to go down because he technically has been tricked. I wouldn't say it's on purpose. Brandon Bye isn't looking for that at all, but the contact has been made, so you probably do have to give it as a penalty. Yes, it is a soft one, and for me here, if Matt Turner goes with much more conviction, he gets this. He guesses the right direction, just doesn't quite go with full conviction that he normally goes at. Maybe second guesses himself. I'm not too sure what's happened there, but I think he's gone the right way. I mean, he feels a little, you can see there that he's disappointed, but just so close, Matt Turner. I mean, I was thinking he'd save this anyway. If I'm being honest, I mean, I always believe in Matt Turner. Second half underway, and the Revolution start on the front foot again. Lovely there, absolutely lovely. Just leaves 2 defenders for dead. Very tame shot, but great to see us kind of out the starting blocks. Nice early. But just a really simple here. Just for me, obviously, there's other options here. He could go to the right. He could kind of ping the ball out to Tyjon as well here. He's just Tyjon Buchanan. We could ping the ball out to Buchanan here. He's probably the better option in my opinion. He's got kind of room on his defender, play the ball into this position over here for Buchanan to run onto. But he has got other options. But I mean, to be fair, the space is opening up in front of him. There's no one really tracking down until now. But yeah, just really, really tame shot. Not really kind of putting any pace into the ball. Again, look at Buchanan's space here. I mean, I think that was the right option, but obviously hindsight is a great thing when you're kind of analysing games here. This one, just some, nice pressure here for the Revolution, and just draw what I thought at the time was a free kick. And obviously, again, you can watch this back as many times and is in slow motion as you want, and you're going to get, different results from there. It looked like the contact maybe was on the foot, which was definitely outside the area, but when you actually look it back at different angles, different speeds, it's knee-on-knee collision, slightly inside the area, so we do get the penalty. Obviously, I do think that, in a way, this is kind of evened the game out, because they got given a penalty, which, was a little bit soft. As I said, I believe ours was soft, the softer penalty of two. Yes, there has been contact made there, and he has kind of stopped his momentum, but, it's really hard to call it a penalty. But I think on the day, it probably kind of evened each other out, because both teams kind of got one each, really. One kind of, not poor decision, but, I think there probably were both penalties if you go letter of the law. And, but as I said, if you slow things down as much, and Carlos here, obviously Matt Turner getting the assist on this one, telling him that, if I was the goalkeeper against you here, I'd know that your last few penalties have been taken down the middle. So Carlos just cool, calm, collected. As I said, Matt Turner giving him the little assist on this one, not going down the middle. Not the best penalty, but obviously you can tell that Brad, he's got his feet pretty much firmly planted there, just a little shift in momentum, and expected him to go down the middle. And obviously without that little tip from Matt Turner, who knows, that could have been a Brad Guzan save on that one. So I do think that Matt Turner deserves a little bit of he should get an assist, shouldn't he? But yeah, cool, calm, collected penalty. It's Carlos, isn't it? What can we say? And there it is. 94 minutes on the clock, and the Revolution win the game. I don't know why it didn't show that little bit of lovely Carlos heel trickery. If I do remember, I will put it in. But I didn't remember, did I? No, because I have already recorded this. What am I about? I'm literally going over the top. But there it is. 3 points on the board. What can I say? Great day. Wish I was there. Let's go, Revs. Right, we know what time it is. I think I was expecting to make a little jingle here, but it's question time, guys. So obviously, thank you for everyone submitting their questions. As I say, you can't answer them. I have to answer them. You can submit a question by commenting on the video down below, or obviously posting to me over on social media. Obviously, I've got Instagram. It's at NERevs UK, and also over on Twitter as well, which is also at NERevs UK. Obviously, the more questions I get, the longer I suppose this part goes on. So maybe that's why you guys maybe keep it a little bit shorter than usual. But yeah, obviously, as I say, thank you for everyone who does submit the questions. Two this time round. So the first one comes from David. He said, if the team needs goals badly, don't you play the guy that scores goals, as in Gustavo Bo, over a guy that doesn't, as in Tyjon? And he's literally, as that's how he wants me to pronounce it, Ty. Well, no, sorry, not Tyjon. Tyjon. See, Tyjon doesn't sound right. Whatever, Buchanan, basically. And I mean, I suppose I get that. I do get that. The whole Bow over Buchanan argument. I don't think it's an argument that needs to be had. I think they both are not players you can really compare. They are not comparable at all. Yes, Gustavo is the more proven goal scorer, but would you say that Buchanan's been given the same opportunities as Gustavo has done to showcase that? And as I said, like, Gustavo had a really good season for us, predominantly last season. Well, I wouldn't say a good season. No, I would actually. I would go on record and say he had a good season for the Revolution last season. This season, though, something's missing. And Carlos is on the pitch, so it's not that. And I don't know what it is. Something is not quite right. I don't know if there's a mental barrier there that's stopping something or what, but something isn't quite right, in my opinion, with the Gustavo Bo at the moment. And until we start seeing the Gustavo Bo that is putting the ball in the back of the net, which, yes, I know he has scored this season, but other than that goal, would you say that Buchanan's 73 minutes against Atlanta was better than Gustavo, even when he scored a goal for the Revolution's performance? If you watch minute for minute, I think Buchanan gave us more during his minutes on the pitch than Gustavo has done, and that's my only argument for it. I can't really look further past that, because you're not. It's almost like saying, comparing a striker to a defender in a way. Yes, they're both attacking players, but they don't play the same position. They're not brought in to do the same job as such. So I don't really think you can look into it too much and try and compare and contrast the two players. But again, that's just my opinion, which obviously is the reason why you asked the question. So there is my answer, David. The next question we got is from Andrew over on social media as well. He said, what is the ideal lineup for the Revs team? Can Bo and Adam Buxa coexist at the top of this formation? Now, I'm obviously going to touch on this again as we kind of go into my prediction against Nashville, and we'll go into my lineup for that one. And but yeah, I do think they can coexist. I think Bruce, he's very, what's the right word for it? Very vocal. I suppose the right word if in the fact that although there is a starting formation as such, it's other than the back five realistically, of Turner and the four defenders in front of him. Other than that they're kind of left. The players left in front of that don't really have. They have a starting position, yes, and they have a kind of, as they're going into a defensive transition and stuff, they'll have that. But when they're kind of attacking, he wants it free flowing. So you will just see Carlos popping up, and you will see the wingers interchange, and you will see Adam and whoever's playing kind of just in behind them. They will just swap. You see Adam running in deep as well to kind of get the ball to kind of leave space in behind, as his hope. The hope when Adam comes a bit short for a ball is that it leaves space in behind them for players to run in off that. But yeah, I do think it can work. And it should work, but I think it has to only be in the right kind of situation, and I don't think we should be so much hung up on what formation we're playing, and as much as maybe we are sometimes. I don't think we should be hung up on can Adam and Gustavo be playing on the same pitch together, because they're two very, very, again, although these two are comparable because they play in a similar position, they are two very, very different players. They bring two very, very different styles of play to the game, and sometimes them two will work well against a certain team, but other times it won't. Sometimes I don't feel like we need both of them on the pitch, and that's unfortunate when you've got two players of that stature in that position. We've got our three DP players are three players that are players that are in the attacking third of the field. Now, why Carlos? I don't think I think he's more effective behind any strike force. I think the other two are both more natural as a striker, and I think that we don't predominantly always play with two natural strikers as such. So I think it's that's where I wouldn't say Gustavo has been really, really good for us, but I don't see past this season Gustavo possibly playing in the Revolution, and that's not that I don't want him to. I don't want the Revolution to get rid of him. I think he's a great player, and he's so far he's done really, really well for us. But if his heart isn't in the club, which is weird though, because he does seem to like his social presence and stuff does seem at times to be that he loves playing for the Revolution, and he's always very active, and we've seen that post by the club the other day of him scoring that screamer. So hopefully that week away is maybe just that little refresh that he needed. I'm not too sure. Obviously we don't have to be involved in every aspect of their lives, but maybe some off the field stuff was happening. Who knows? Maybe that kind of time, week off or whatever, is going to come back and refresh him now. But I do think that we don't need them to coexist a lot of the time, because we don't always need them both on the pitch, which, as I said, it's a little bit annoying sometimes that you're going to have two DPs and maybe one of them isn't going to be playing all the time, and that might not even be based off form. It might be that they're just not going to fit into the system because of the formation as such, or the way that Bruce wants us playing. It might just that he wants two more natural out and out wingers on the pitch, and then if he does want two kind of very wide players, although I suppose it's quite hard to say Tristanton's a natural winger, an out and out player as such. I think that he's got that in his locker, and I think he knows what to do in that situation. I think that he he might not play Gustavo because then what, you don't play Carlos? I think in that situation then it becomes who do you play in and behind Adam? Or maybe we start with no Adam and we go Gustavo up top sometimes because maybe we're looking to play the ball into feet more, and we're possibly looking to not utilise an aerial threat because that's null and void. So there's lots of different potentials, and I do think they can coexist, but I don't think they always need to. That's my answer on that one. And that was it. That was the two questions that I got thrown to me. So I appreciate those two. As I say, if you do want to get involved, it doesn't always have to be Revolution based if you don't want it to be. As I say, you can post a question either in the comment section down below on YouTube, or you can find me over on Instagram or on Twitter. It's at NERevs UK. Right, it's that time that everyone, well, actually not everyone, I enjoy doing this part. It's
Who's that? Revimon.
So this was last week's, and nobody guessed it again, but the answer is...
Who's that? Revimon. It's Steve Nicol.
So this time, who is that Revimon?
Great at home, record at home?
I think we've only lost 2 at home.
Only lost 2 at home, and then when you go on the road, it's a little bit different experience.
Yeah, we've had some troubles on the road this year, unfortunately, and it's kind of put us in the position we're in now. I know we still got a chance to make playoffs, but we're in a tough spot right now, and we're just trying to finish the season on a high note.
Now we move over to prediction time. The New England Revolution taking on Nashville. For me, it's an interesting one for me because Nashville, so far, to be fair, they haven't done great, but they also haven't played particularly badly. So they've got 3 draws from their first 3 games, scoring 4 goals, but also conceding 4 goals in that as well. So obviously last time out, there was a 0-0 draw against Inter Miami. Before that, it was a 2-2 draw with Montreal and a 2-2 draw in the opening day game of the season. Oh, man, that was a close one. Against Cincinnati, that was a 2-2 draw as well. So, yeah, interesting one for me. It's it's at the Nissan Stadium. We're away from home. I think they've got a few players out. I think we're only, at the moment, to my knowledge, I think there's only Casado that might possibly not be able to be fully fit, which is slightly concerning that he's come back from injury and then had a knock or whatever, but I'm not too sure on that one just yet. But obviously, time will tell on that one. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. Obviously, Nashville have got some really, really good players in their ranks, and they're going to be a team that we're definitely going to be going to play some good football. I think this is going to be a good game. To be fair, I think it's going to actually be quite a good game for the neutral. I think both teams will look to get the ball down and play it. And I do think it's going to be quite open and expansive football from both teams. 2, I would actually say, fairly evenly. If you go player by player, I think it's quite an evenly ranked team. If you that's how I like to, when I look player for player and who will play in each position, and if you rank who you'd probably choose out of those players, I think it's fairly evenly. I think you could probably argue both ways on a lot of their positions they've got. So yes, we're on 7 points, they're only on 3, but it's only 3 games into the season. You can't really tell a lot on that. It's there's still time for for teams to kind of just obviously put in a massive run of form and change their whole season round. I mean, it's there's Minnesota at the moment, they've played 3, lost 3, but there's no saying that Minnesota are going to be bottom of they could win it. I don't think they will, but they could do. They could win it. It's 3 games. It's not good when you've had that start. Obviously, I would definitely rather be in our position, obviously top of the East and second in the Support Shield, but it's far too early to be thinking anything other than what we're all about at the moment, which is the game against Nashville. Now, for me, I honestly do think I do think that Bruce might start an unchanged 11. That's my prediction. I think Bruce. This isn't what I think will play. I think Bruce though will actually name a unchanged 11 against Nashville. Now, this isn't what I think, and we'll go through my team now of what I think and my reasonings maybe behind this one. So I do think the Revolution, obviously we're going to put it in the formation, although Bruce will not like that, but I am going to put it obviously in the formation, and it is going to be the 4-2-3-1 formation. So the back four, I think, I don't think Mafla will come back in as such. I do think there is an opportunity there for us to use Mafla, but I think with Dwan Jones's athleticism and ability to get up and down a little bit more, I think he'll probably use that more in this game. I think we could probably better utilise Dwan in this game. So my prediction would be it's going to go for Matt Turner in goal, Dwan Jones, Henry Kessler, Andrew Farrell, and Brandon Bye. The midfield pairing, I do think, will be Martial and Matt Polster as well. And to be fair, I'm only actually making one change to the team. So on the right-hand side, I do think it'll start with Tyjon or Tijon or Tajon or any other variation of that name. I think he'll start with Buchanan. I think he'll start with Carlos in that kind of number 10 free roaming spot. I actually think, I don't know why, and there's no intel in this at all, and based off previous squad names, obviously teams that he's named and stuff, everyone's going to be thinking, where's this one coming from? But I do think he'll start Boateng out on the left-hand side, and then I think he'll start Adam Buxer up top. So the reason why I think that the one change will come is that I think that we could really, really damage... Sorry about that, guys. That you probably just heard a load of rubbish in. That was probably a very muffled noise you just heard. So apologies for that. But yeah, I think the reason why I would start Boateng more, again, because he's more of a natural out-and-out winger, I think he's got, at the moment, the ability, and I know this is kind of going against what I just said earlier about I think we should give Tristanton the opportunity to start more games and get more minutes in the pitch on the pitch with the team and so on and so forth. But I do think sometimes Bruce has got to look at the opposition, which I'm sure they do, to go in depth analysis, and soccer analysis is something that I would absolutely love to do. But I do think they run the tape back and they watch the few Nashville games, and hopefully they should be looking at them games and going, you know what, I think if we push our wide bend really, really wide, and then if we almost play Brandon Bye and Dwan Jones as inverted wing backs, so rather than them going on the overlap, if they come inside and push inwards, if they go forward, and leave Boateng and Buchanan out, just hugging the touchline and just stay out there and get the ball into the middle, because then we've got Martial, we've got Dwan Jones, we've got Brandon Bye, we've got Carlos, we've got Adam, just kind of all that could be kind of in the middle of the park, overloading that area. And I do think as well also that I don't quite know how Nashville will line up, but I think if they're playing Johnson, I think that at right back, which they I know they did against Inter Miami, I think, to be fair, I think has he been there? I think he's actually started all 3 games from right back, hasn't he? So I do think that it's more likely that will go. And to be fair, he's performed well, but I do think there's an opportunity there for Buchanan to really cause him some issues with that one. Obviously, he played well last season for Nashville, but still technically a rookie. And yeah, I think that he could cause him some issues down that left-hand side. Not saying that Tristanton wouldn't do, but I think he'd offer us something different. He'd be, again, I suppose you could play Tristanton out on the left and then have him as an inside forward, and then just have Dwan Jones overlapping. But I think if we kind of mimic what I think Buchanan would do on the one side, I just think it gives us a better opportunity. But again, this is just my opinion, guys. I don't think Bruce will go with that. There's no way. I do think he starts Boateng at all, because why would he? I think, when you spend a lot of money on a player, I think he would and probably should start Tristanton out there. But that's just my opinion. No one asked for it, but I've just gave it you. Right, guys, that pretty much wraps up today's episode. I hope you've enjoyed this one. Obviously, if you have, then don't forget to show your support by dropping likes and subscribing and sharing it around and all that kind of Great stuff. Obviously, I do appreciate anyone who just kind of listen this far in, because it's it is tough, and I do get people keep saying, I've had multiple people saying, maybe make it into a podcast, but then the podcast part of it, I don't think it makes sense when I'm doing the analysing the play bit. Everything else probably does work in a podcast format. But yeah, I don't know. Anyway, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this one, and I will catch you all very, very soon.